Today's unfortunate story is about Charles Ray Hatcher, born July 16, 1929. He was an American serial killer who was convicted in Missouri of one murder and has been linked to 4 others in Illinois and California, and confessed to having murdered at least 16 people between the years of 1969 and 1982. Charles Ray Hatcher was born in Mound City, Missouri, a small town 34 miles north of St. Joseph. He was the youngest of Jesse James and Lula Novada, Hatcher's 4 children. His father was a bootlegger and an ex-convict and abusive alcoholic. Hatcher was bullied in school and in turn bullied his classmates and would carry this practice into his adulthood. In the spring of 1936, he and his older brothers were flying a kite with copper wire they had found in an old Model T Ford. His oldest brother, Arthur Allen, was about to hand the kite to him when it hit a high-voltage power line and electrocuted him. Arthur was pronounced dead at the scene. Soon afterward, his father left home and divorced his mother. His mother remarried several times, and in the year of 1945, Hatcher moved with his mother and her 3rd husband in St. Joseph. In the year of 1947, Hatcher was convicted of auto theft in St. Joseph after stealing a logging truck from Iowa, Missouri Walnut Company. His employer of 2 weeks, he received a 2-year suspended sentence. In the year of 1948, he was convicted of auto theft a second time for stealing a 1937 Buick St. Joseph. Hatcher was sentenced to 2 years in the Missouri State Penitentiary. After serving his additional time, Hatcher was released from prison on July 14th, year 1954. He stole a 1951 Ford in Oric and was subsequently sentenced to 4 years in prison. Before he was sentenced, Hatcher attempted to escape from Ray County Jail in Richmond and received an additional 2 years. On March 18th, year 1959, Hatcher was released from prison after his 6th prison sentence of his life. In the year of 1959, on June 26, Hatcher attempted to abduct Stephen Pelham, a 16-year-old in St. Joseph who delivered newspapers. Threatening him with a butcher knife, Pelham reported the crime and Hatcher was arrested, when the police stopped him in a stolen vehicle as well. Hatcher was sentenced to 5 years in the Missouri State Penitentiary for the attempted abduction and auto theft under the Habitual Criminal Act. While Hatcher was waiting to be transported to prison, he unsuccessfully attempted to break out of the Buchanan County Jail. When Hatcher arrived at the Missouri State Penitentiary, he claimed to be the most notorious criminal in Northwest Missouri since Jesse James. Later on, between the years of 1969 and 1967, Mr. Hatcher confessed to abducting a 12-year-old named William Freeman in Antioch, California, on August 27, 1969. He claimed he had told the boy to come with him, took him to a creek, and there he strangled him. While out on bail between the years of 1978 and 1982, on September 4th, year 1978, Hatcher was arrested under the name Richard Clark in Omaha, Nebraska, for sexually assaulting a 16-year-old boy. He was sent to the Douglas County Mental Hospital and released in January, year of 1979. In the year of 1980, in the month of May, Hatcher was released from the facility, but was sent back 2 months later for another assault. He escaped in September of that year. On January 13, 1981, Hatcher was arrested at Richard Clark in Des Moines, Iowa, after a knife fight. He spent time in several mental health facilities and was released to Davenport Salvation Army Shelter in the month of April. On May 26, the year of 1978, 4-year-old Eric Christian disappeared from downtown St. Joseph, Missouri. His body was later found along the Missouri River. He had sexually abused and died of suffocation. The police questioned more 100 possible suspects, including everyone known pervert in town, to no avail. In the weeks that followed, Reynolds embellishment this confession with details that were fed to him deliberately or otherwise. That was enough to convince the prosecutor to change Reynolds with a charge and to convince a jury to convict him of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. 4 years later, Reynolds was released from Charles Hatcher, confessed to 3 murders to an FBI agent, including that of Eric Christensen. On July 29th, the year of 1982, 11-year-old Michelle Steele was reported missing from St. Joseph. The day later, her uncle found her nude, ravaged body on a bank on the Missouri River. She had been beaten and strangled to death. Hatcher was arrested the following day as he tried to check in at St. Joseph State Hospital. While awaiting trial, he confessed to 15 other murders dating from the year of 1969. The first victim, 12-year-old William Freeman, had disappeared from Antioch, California in August of that year, one day before the Hatcher was charged with child molestation in nearby San Francisco. In another case, Hatcher penned a crude map that led searchers to the remains of a 28-year-old James Churchill, buried on the grounds of the Rock Island Army Arsenal near Davenport, Iowa. It was then that he was confessed to the murder of Eric Christian. He was convicted of the Christian homicide in October year of 1983 and drew a term of life imprisonment with no parole for at least 50 years. Facing his second Missouri conviction a year later for the murder of Michelle Steele, Hatcher requested a death sentence, but the jury refused, recommending a life term on December 3rd, 1984. 4 days later, Hatcher hanged himself in his cell at the Missouri State Penitentiary in Jefferson City. I hope you enjoyed this unfortunate story. I'm Mr. Wade and Mrs. Crime. And once again, we bring it to you.